Good evening to everyone here and everyone listening online. We are drafting our strategic plan for the next period, and we have come here to see whether the students are happy, what has been agreed on, what hasn't been agreed on, and we can, in this friendly atmosphere, discuss this. The students have chosen 4 topics that they would like to address, and all spectators can comment or give their opinion on Facebook or in the online environment. And at the end of our transmission, you may also get answers to your questions. Let us start now. Students, are you students of TalTech, Tallinna University of Technology, or something like that? We are students of Tallinna University of Technology, also known as TalTech. Why we wanted to speak to the Rector's office members on the short title. It was worrisome when we saw in the first draft of the strategic plan that the Tallinna University of Technology would use the TalTech brand, but this had disappeared from the second draft, and this made us worry. We wanted to know what the position was and where we stand with this. As students, we support the name TalTech. Since it was adopted, we have seen many positive developments in terms of our brand development and our image for external stakeholders. We have to admit that this new brand has not been to everyone's liking, but it's always this way with the new things. Some people just don't like new names or developments. But why are we discussing this today? Today, we were worried about lack of this mention in the new draft of the strategic plan, whereas we have seen many positive developments since its adoption 2 years ago. I have seen that the TalTech brand is a uniform brand that can be used both here in Estonia and elsewhere abroad. I would like to add that this is a brand that attracts new students. It's something that young people like. It also shows that we are innovative, we are open to change, and we want to implement changes. I would like to add that it stands out with its color scheme. And I would subscribe to what Mary said. It's young at heart, and I think this is one of the most important values for the university. I would also like to say that the Eurotech Alliance is very topical. It's easier to stand out outside the university. I think this image would do a lot of benefit to the university. What we see more and more today is that students wear the TalTech camp more and more. We as students want the brand visible in the 5-year strategic plan.
Kas teie võib-olla seda, ma saan aru, et üliõpilased tegelikult tahavad lihtsalt toetust natuke.
I understand that the students would like to support the use of this brand. What about the university side? I would also like to support this. Why was it left out in the second draft of the strategic plan? We had a discussion between the Senate and the Council, and there were arguments in favor and against, and maybe there were more people saying that it shouldn't be part of the strategic plan. The branding is a separate issue, but we are ready to reinstate it. This was not intentional, or there was nothing sinister involved with it. I understand you very well. As students,
osad teist on astunud, eks ole, juba ülikooli, mille lühine on TalTech.
Some of you have already been admitted to under the TalTech brand to the university, and it looks nice, it sounds nice, and if you wish it be used, then we can support this. But as rector or member of the management, I represent the university in its entirety. I was at university a long time ago. It was a different university, but we heard about TIP and students of TIP. You are students of the TalTech era. We should not, by doing this, deprive the TIP students of their image. So there are different generations of students, different names that have been used for the university, and the adoption of this brand should not result in something undesirable. Of course, we want to use it, but whether intentionally or unintentionally, we shouldn't say that you should not use the other names, for example, TIP or whatnot. We need to seek a balance, and if everyone uses this brand in a reasonable manner, I see no problem. I think it sounds very nice. The Tallinn University of Technology brand is very difficult to pronounce and to use, for example, in presentations. At the same time, as the rector, we have to keep the university in it. If we talk about University of Technology, then I think we should emphasize that we are a university. If we say that at Rector's Council we have University of Tallinn, University of Tartu, different universities. We fail to emphasize this university, and we talk about academic activities and research. I just like to say the word university, but TalTech sounds nice too. Let us not dwell on it for very long. I saw a brand study recently, and TalTech is mentioned in the context of technology brands. When people are asked to name brands, technology brands, they may say Microsoft and TalTech, etc. Quite nice combination, yes. We should take advantage of this. We only need 500 million. If we would get the 500 million, then maybe we could get important initiatives implemented. We should rank third among the best-known technology brands. So we would like to see this study. Very interesting, really. And this has been achieved only in 2 years, so the sky is the limit. The physical environment is very important. If we talk about the campus, the sports center, I think this is already moving somewhere, but I would ask the students to name the most problematic areas in our campus. We have mentioned development of the campus a lot recently. I think the developments have been good. But I can also say that there's demand for rooms for group work.
16 rühmatööruumi.
We have around 16 group work rooms for thousands of students. The rooms are occupied all the time, and the new room in the library is always occupied. We would like to move towards having more such spaces, and students like group works, students have to engage in group work, so we need more spaces for group works.
I think it's very nice to hear that some of what we have done is acceptable for others, and you have already taken notice and you like it. It's true that we have a number of group work rooms, and only recently I was talking to some people about this issue, and we thought that maybe some of the smaller classrooms should be taken up for multifunctional use, because there are not always lectures there, and when there are no lectures, the rooms should be used for group work. Mingit inventari juurde hankimistega põhimõtteliselt on need lahendused teada ja nende mõtetega tegeldakse. Et selles mõttes on teie sõnum jõudnud adressaadini.
Mis sa arvad, kui kiiresti, kui palju ruume võiks juurde tekkida, on realistlik selle teemaga edasi liikuda? Järgmised sisseastuvad juba saavad mõne ruumi rohkem.
See on tegelikult valikute küsimus, et kui me vaatame enda õppetöö korraldamist, kas või siin tänases päevas, homses päevas, siis me pole üldse ruume vaja põhimõtteliselt. Ja me peame kuidagi siin proovima prognoosida, mis on meie need tegelikud vajadused. Et üks asi neid ruume ümber ehitada või teha, kui me ei tea täpselt, mille jaoks me teeme, kui suuri me teeme. Et selles mõttes, et ma ühtegi konkreetset ruumi numbrit arvu siin niimoodi välja öelda ei taha. See on lihtsalt põhjusel, et see peab käima natuke sellises testimise faasist läbi, et erinevaid ruume on praegu tehtud ja testitud ja koos siin õppeosakonnaga järjest siis need arendatakse, et mis on kõige sellise mõistlikum kontseptsioon, missugust rohkem vaja. Asjad on töös, aga konkreetselt numbrit ma siit välja öelda ei julge. Küll aga saab seda öelda, et sügiseks, kui tulevad uued noored kolleegid meile juurde, on see pilt väga palju parem. Seda ma saan küll lubada.
See on juba ütleks päris ambitsioonikas lubadus. Et ma arvan, et sellega peaks siin tulema teada rahule selle vastu. Seda on hea kuulda. Mis me veel võiks millest rääkida?
What else could we speak about?
Võib-olla liikuda iseruumist väljapoole, et meil on väga suur kampus reaalsuses ja meil on väga töökad ja targad tudengid, kes võiksid võib-olla ka siis õppida õues. Ja hetkel ongi näha, et meil on palju tühja ala, mida tegelikult oleks mõistlik võib-olla täita selliste rühmatööd soodustavate aladega, et näiteks ongi ümarlauad, toolid, kus tudengid saavad siis ilusad ilmade korral maha istuda. Väga populaarne on tegelikult ka uus amfiteater, mida kasutatakse ka ilusad ilmade korral, aga seal on üsnagi keerukas grupiga maha istuda ja siis arvuti lahti võtta ja seal õppida. Et meie omalt poolt kindlasti sooviks ka õues tegelikult aega veeta ja selle õueala arendus oleks väga aitaks kaasa kindlasti.
Et mis alata ka need õues õppimise või õues koosolemise teemad on käinud laualt läbi. Aga sellega natuke see lugu, et kuna see õue territoorium on hästi selline kvaliteetne ala meile ja seal on kiirustades võimalus kõik tuksi keerata. See ongi see, et me nüüd koos oma enda arhitektidega, kes õpivad meile meie enda vaja Saksala, nendega nüüd üritame mõelda mingeid võimalikke lahendusi ja selliselt, need satuksid selliste loogiliste kulgemisteed äärde, et kus inimesed rohkem käivad täna ja kus nemad võiks hakata käima järjest rohkem. Et me peaks mõtlema ka siin sedapidi, et meil on tekkimas juurde erinevaid naabreid siin, kindlasti olete kuulnud riigigümnaasiumist, me tahame neid järjest rohkem integreerida enda tegemistesse, siis me peaks kuidagi soodustama ka nende liikumist meie juurde ja et siis selliselt, et need gümnasistid ja meie inimesed saaksid kuskil mugavalt kokku. Et ongi natuke vaja nagu mõelda, selles mõttes, et mõte on laual, erinevaid variante on täna põrgatatud, aga ma nüüd ei julge lubada seda kuupäeva, millal esimene prototüüp kuskil püsti on. Aga mõte liigub teiega samas suunas, selles mõttes on hea meel.
Millest veel füüsilise keskkonna?
Võib-olla äkki jätkaks mõttelõnga sellest, et meil tuleb uus riigigümnaasium ja sinna meie ülikooli peamaja ja riigigümnaasiumi vahele jääb tegelikult päris suur plats, mis on meie vana staadion. Et olgugi, et sinna võib-olla ei plaanita midagi teha, võib-olla plaanitakse, aga et sellise suure platsiga oleks väga mõistlik midagi ette võtta. Et hetkel seda otseselt ei kasuta tudengid. Seda kasutatakse kohe eelnädalal, kui meil on avalik orienteerumine ja see juba tegelikult ka jätab esmamulje uutele esmakursuslastele. Et see oleks kindlasti üks mõttekoht, mida võiks arendada edasi ja sealt edasi vaadata, et kuidas sellist suurt ala paremaks muuta.
Kui see oli nüüd küsimus või ta oli selline konstateering, et ma võtan seda kui küsimust või võimalust diskussiooni jätkata, et tõsi jutt, et Tehnikaülikoolil on oma kampuse ümber päris palju maad. Nii siinpool ehitada teed kui teise pool ehitada teed, kus on tänane spordihall. Ja on aegade jooksul arutatud erinevaid võimalusi, et kas spordi tegemine peaks olema kõik ühes kohas, ehk seal selle tänase spordihalli juures või ta peaks olema mitmes kohas, spordihalli juures pluss staadionil. Need arutelusi on peetud erineva intensiivse erinevatel aegadel ja ka täna on see teema uuesti püsti. Ja selles mõttes, et selle arengukava raames me töötame läbi ka oma parima teadmise juures kinnisvaraalaselt sellised pikema vaate pidepunktid. Ja ma väga loodan, et me suudame selle spordilinnaku küsimuse ja staadioni alaga seotud temaatika ära fikseerida selliselt, et me vähemalt teaksime, mida me sellega teeme, et kas sinna jääbki selline viletsa kartulimaa moodi selline endine staadion või tekib sinna mingi muu asi või tekib sinna uus staadion. Kõik variandid on võimalikud, et lihtsalt kuna need arendused võtavad kõik kaua aega ja on hästi kallid, siis pigem tuleb natukene rohkem mõelda ja teha üks pikk plaan, lepime kokku, et jah, selle plaani järgi hakkame koos minema ja siis kui see plaan on meil natuke rohkem paigas, siis saab seda jällegi koos teiega arutada.
Natuke lisan, et Aivar, kas sa tead, staadion, kel on Eesti Tallinna siis ainus vasaraite staadion. See on ka põhjus, tegelikult natukene isegi ohtlik käia, et seal õhtul patseerima minna.
Oota, Hendrik, aga
mis selle staadioni see vasaraite rekord on? Äkki vaatame seda?
Kas see on ka siin rekord, Hendrik?
It's rather dangerous. Perhaps we also hold the record for javelin throwing.
Aga seal meil on kehtiv leping Eesti Kergejõustikuliiduga, et küll on lubanud seda alati tasandada, aga alati pommi auksid ja vahele, siis nad lükkavad päeka kokku.
In Estonia,
aga sinna detailplaneeringu järgi on tõesti hooned ju
selles mõttes, et mitte kehtiva detailplaneeringu järgi, see ongi see, et sellele alale on tehtud erinevatel aegadel planeeringuid, neid on algatatud ja lõpetatud ja selles mõttes täna kehtiva planeeringu järgi on seal staadion ilma ehitusõiguseta. Et selles mõttes, et selleks, et kõiki asju nagu teha, tuleks endal meil defineerida, mida me tahame teha. ja et siin aruteludest on tõesti käinud läbi tõsiselt versioon, et miks mitte Tehnikaülikooli spordilinnak oma natukene suuremas skaalas võiks olla tänase spordihalli ümbruses oma erinevate funktsioonidega.
Seda on hea kuulda, et planeerimine käib hooga ja et üliõpilased saavad kaasa rääkida, aga ma küsiks veel, et aga kuidas meil üliõpilased organisatsioonid
ega mis see salata, meie tudengielu on kõige lahedam, kas ma arvan ka terve Eesti peale, et väga palju organisatsioone on meil, kes funktsioneerivad ja igapäevaselt arendavad uusi mõtteid, projekte ja teevad koosviibimisi. Et kui rääkida koosviibimistest, siis tegelikult organisatsiooni ja siis ka tudengielu tegelikult mingil määral defineerib keskkond ja ka organisatsiooni enda ruum või siis kontor. Et kui on suur kontor, siis inimesed saavad seal aega veeta, uusi ideid põrgatada, mõtteid ja sealt sünnivad ka uued projektide ideed. Ja nagu ka te teate, siis TalTechi tudengid on läbinud väga palju lahedaid ja suuri projekte. Et kindlasti seda soodustaks ka see, kui tudengid saaksid endale rohkem ruume ja see ka aitaks kaasa uute tudengiorganisatsiooni tekkele, kui ka olemasolevad saaksid näiteks enda mingisugused planeeri ümber mõelda plaane. Et siin on käinud ka vahel mõte läbi, et Rectori võiks ka olla potentsiaalne tudengit kaasav asutus siis nii-öelda, et mis oleks siis, kui näiteks tudengiorganisatsioonid saaksid ka osaliselt siia kolida Rectorisse.
Enne kui ma Aivarile kohe üle annan, et tegelikult aasta-aastat ma olen näinud, et see asi on kogu aeg läinud natukene.
I think I've seen improvements year by year. We can certainly see a positive trend. It's good to see that. But
pigem Rectori osas ma pigem annaksin järje hoopis
If we're talking about Rectory, I would give the floor to Sven. He knows more about the plans for Rectory.
Jaa, tudengid on siia alati oodatud.
Students are always welcome to Rectory.
Seda ala siin rohkem
and we would like the students to know this space better. So the student companies would use these spaces and we want to organize more events for students on entrepreneurship. We would like to see more students active in this building. We want to be a center for innovation and the activities of students that fall under this concept are very welcome.
And
we would like to open this building up 24/7. Here was the issue of group work rooms and those available in the library 24/7. I think the ground floor as well as this space here will very soon be accessible to students.
Ja see maja oleks ka koht tõesti, kus tudengiettevõtted võiksid koonduda.
Would be a place for student companies to focus. If we look at the Eurotech universities, we see a lot of entrepreneurial spirit and doses of student companies get established every year. I talked to people from the Danish University of Technology today, and their 40 student companies got founded last year. And this has been common over the last few years. We also strive towards this. The message is not that every student should have their own company. I think Hendrik would be quite unhappy if this happened because the graduation rates would drop, and I think I would be a bit saddened because there's a time for everything. You can establish your company later later on as well, but having a student company can also be part of one's studies. It can end in quick failure, and this would be great for learning. So the student company doesn't necessarily have to send you to great heights. I can see this as part of everyday studies. Very good. I think one reason why we want to raise this is that student life and student activism is not mentioned in the strategic plan. I think there's huge potential for future companies, for future successful people, that during student years one can learn so many things that you wouldn't learn elsewhere. I think this should not be neglected.
No, väga hea kuulda.
It's good to hear that. It seems that things are moving in the right direction. Now we can maybe move on to quality of studies. We like to compare ourselves with best universities in the Nordic countries. If we take the presumption that the quality of studies at Aalto and Chalmers is 10 out of 10, so what would be our grade? Let us give the opportunity to grade to students. If Aalto is 10 out of 10, then we would be 11. I think 8 out of 10 maybe. What do the others think? Or do you agree with Hendrik? Are you more critical? I would maybe say 7. I wanted to see what Hendrik would reply. I would put 6 to 7. 7, 7.5 maybe. It's like grading yourself. I think we can. We have 6s and 7s and 8s. The quality is maybe not very consistent yet. It can be different on the basis of study programs.
Räägin sinu eest, aga
I'm sorry to interrupt, but say that it varies. Then this leads us to the topic of professors. I think there's a correlation in number of professors and quality of studies. I'm asking students whether they would like to see professors during their studies. Do they want to see them in the first year of bachelor studies? We have had many discussions on that. We wanted to talk about this at length. We think that professors should teach at each level, bachelor's, master's and doctoral level. I would also like to mention topics that are important to students. Maybe the grade first. We would say 6.5, 7 maybe. What do the others think? Now you're going to tell us how we can get to 10. Yes? Professors was one thing. Secondly, I think that feedback and how feedback is taken into account in studies and how conclusions are drawn from the feedback, I think it's very important. On course basis, if we have foreign students, we have cooperation projects. It's very important to have generally good quality and find ways to improve this. And I would also like to mention that awareness raising of science among freshmen. If we have courses like fundamentals of entrepreneurship, why not have fundamentals of science? Science is research. What are modern methods, modern innovations in research that would inspire students to move forward in this direction. I think this would be a good idea if in October every year we would try to explain, for example, this year's Nobel Prizes to our students and their meaning. I would like to comment in the context of the strategic plan. I think the things that you mentioned, we have plans to address this. One thing that hasn't been mentioned is that we would like to have more faculty members with PhDs. Recent statistics show that 64% of our faculty members have doctoral degrees. In University of Tartu, the rate is 74%. This is something where we would like to take a big step forward. We would like to invite our alumni back to the university who have successful careers elsewhere, but we have lost touch with the university. We would like to get them back to teach. When it comes to professors, then we have 76 study programs and 29 majors. Ideally, each major, we're talking about speciality and general subject, there should be at least one professor teaching. Why is it not the case? We have had mergers, the IT College, the Maritime Academy, where there have been no professors historically. Now it's time for us to decide whether we would like to carry on or we would like to be more research-based. And now the position is that we want to emphasize research more. So we would need to address each major where there's a lack of professors, but professors exist in this discipline who do not teach. Then we would have to take a strategic decision whether we would like to instate a professorship for this discipline, because competition is fierce. Financially, we cannot create new professor positions, so we have to decide what to do.
So this is our situation right now. But maybe you have some more ideas. Yes, I want to ask, what is the reason for those professors who exist but do not want to teach? I don't know why they don't have this motivation. I'm not a professor myself, but many professors are present, so maybe you know why these people don't want to teach classes.
Miks professorid õpetada ei soovi? Ma tegelikult tean väga vähe professorid, kes soovi õpetada. Tõsiselt. Ma vaatan, ma ise tulen IT-teaduskonnast. Ma olen seal olnud mõnda aega juba. Ma ei kujuta ette mõni professor, kes ütleks mulle, et mulle põhimõtteliselt ei meeldi õpetada, minge minema, ma ei taha teid. Võib-olla see on keerulisem teema, me oleme siin Hendrikuga arutanud, et kahjuks meie hulgas siin ei ole praegu meie finantsjuhti, aga väga palju tegelikult taandub sellele, kuidas ülikoolis raha jagatakse. Võib-olla kui te tahate, siis ma natuke seletan teile, et teaduse tegemine on selline, kui sa oled teadlane, sa oled uurimisgrupi juht, see on sama nagu sa oleksid perearst oma nimekirja. Et sa oled majanduslikult enam-vähem sõltumatu teistest, sa võtad oma teadusprojektid, teed oma asju. Aga selleks, et neid teadusprojekte teha, selleks on sul aega vaja, eks ole. Ja selle raha taotlemiseks on sul ka aega vaja. Et sa jääd nagu sellise nõiaringi sisse, et kogu aeg kulub selleks, et raha saada, ja see raha, kui sa selle saanud, siis kulub kogu aeg selleks, et teha ära seda, mis sa oled lubanud oma rahastustaotluses. Ja samamoodi, et see raha, mis nüüd tuleb õppetöö tegemisse, et see tegelikult peaks jääma õppetöösse, aga see ei ole päris kindel, et see alati niimoodi on. Sest teinekord võetakse sealt ka pannakse nagu näiteks teadusgruppidesse, kes nakkusvaldkonnas
võib-olla ei ole nagu nii väga suurt soovi
because sometimes some of the money that a person gets by these funds, this money, part of it will be given to another department which is perhaps not so strong.
Ta tahaks tegelikult selle finantsskeemi üle vaadata, et kõik algab lõpeb rahast lõpuks, et kuidas siis sellele professorile tuua see motivatsioon või ka anda talle aega, vabastada tema aega natuke selleks, et osa raha tuleb siit õppest, aga siis palun õpeta ka selle raha eest. Ma arvan, et suurem osa kõik professorid soovivad seda teha. Ja pealegi neil on ka oma selline täiesti isiklik kasu seal mängustikti, sest kust tulevad nendesse uurimisgruppidesse doktorandid. Nad tulevad ikkagi ju, kunagi on need doktorandid olnud ka magistriõppes ja bakaõppes. Ja mida varem, nagu sa juba mainisid, et teile tegelikult meediks, et professorile õpetaks. Professorile meediks see sama hästi, sellepärast, et siis ta saaks juba varakult hakata rääkima, et vaata, ma tegelen nii huvitav asjaga, et äkki te tahate minust lõputööd teha. Kui te lõputööd ära teinud, et äkki te tahate veel teha midagi. Ja nii edasi, et tegelikult peaks nagu mõlemal poolt see soov olema. Aga mingid imelikud sellised finantsmehhanismid
So yes, professors should teach already at the first level, but it's a complex issue. Yes, it's true that the university has a number of fascinating projects and more students should know about them. We used to talk about the practical life. We used to say that more entrepreneurs should be involved in our teaching programs and done that. And we are moving along with the practical side of life. But now we should maybe also focus on scientists. Yes, we have entrepreneurs who teach at this university and they are very, very good. They will recruit some of the students who are also very bright. And these bright students will go and work for these enterprises, but they will not even consider a career as a scientist. They will just leave. And some people don't even know what opportunities they would have. And then the other thing is the funding model. We have talked about different institutes with the Rector. And I would like to say, as a person responsible for the studies, that it doesn't actually matter if you teach a little bit more or a little bit less. It doesn't really matter because you wouldn't be paid more. And that's rather demotivating.
Jah, ikka mingil määral, kindlasti see mingil määral kinni rahastusmudelis.
Yes, of course.
Kui rahastusmudeli kui raha on juba kõik pandud ühte potti, siis tuleb õpperaha, teadusraha,
and if all of the funds are pooled together, either for teaching, the projects, the research, then people do not understand where the money came from, how it should be used.
Ma olen rääkinud seda, me oleme kõik rääkinud rektoraadis, kes me oleme.
It's a difficult question and all of us.
Professorid, mina küll mitte küll Tehnikaülikoolis, aga
all of us who are professors, even though I'm not a professor here at this university, have talked about this issue and the professors agree among themselves that we ourselves should lead by example. 1 month ago, I visited a course of gene technology. I went to the first year course because I was invited to tell them where I work, what I do in my daily job and why is it important. And then I was asked, is iron good for your brain? And I said, of course it's good. And then later a student came up to me and said that my granny has a very, she has a problem with very low she has a very low iron levels in her blood. Should she take iron supplements? And I said that yes, of course she should, because if your iron levels drop
very, very low, then you already will need a blood transfusion. But my point is that we also talked about why it happens, why this medical problem happens. And we could talk about whatever, maybe the issue of gravity, because it's also a very practical issue. It's also very interesting, and not only to young people, but for everyone. Yes, Aivar wants to speak. And Sven. Not everyone is here, but maybe some of them are teaching classes right now. Yes, we should agree on a collective level that if we get some money, we will also divide these resources with our younger colleagues. Because a university is an academic establishment and professors are academic staff. And it's probably an honor and an opportunity for us, not just an obligation. We should work with younger people, with younger colleagues, and also with younger students. Yes. Who is and the person who is elected then the best lecturer or the lecturer of the year should get the prize. Yes, I think that prizes are not a bad idea at all, because people should pay tribute to one another. Students to professors, professors to students. We have done some of that in the past. And we have some examples where we should also try attracting non-academic staff to give lectures, because they would also have a very interesting experience to share. But it's of course difficult. It's difficult to compete with professors, because professors compete in a whole different category. I have been asked to give a lecture, but it will take place in June. I think the 18th of June. Anyway, I wanted to contribute to the discussion by stating that sometimes when people think about teaching, they think about seminars or lectures only, but actually people also supervise theses, and this is a one-to-one teaching project. We have these calculations, how many hours people spend in front of the classrooms, but we also have these calculations for supervising theses. Every professor should use 50 lessons supervising master thesis and 20 lessons supervising bachelor thesis. So when you are writing a bachelor thesis, you should actually see your supervisor for 20 hours, which is once a week. Think about people who actually do this. Such professors who actually go to their bachelor students and master students and work with these people. And they shouldn't be such good supervisors just because they are good people. They should also get paid. I think that the one-to-one supervising is very beneficial. It means that people really come together and they become close. A student becomes close with a professor, or the professor or the student becomes close with a research group or a laboratory, and it's a very valuable experience. Yes. One more aspect, it's the feedback. Am I wrong in thinking that there is not enough feedback? We have the obligatory feedback, which is given via the university system, the study information system called ÖIS. We also have AKT, another feedback providing system, but the feedback system has changed. because when people thought about hackathon in the past, it was a bit negative. It had negative connotations. It was perceived as something for blacklisting people, blacklisting professors. But my own vision is not blacklisting anyone or giving negative feedback, but giving positive feedback and praise to those who work here. This year we had the Teachers' Day, and recognition was given to 22 teachers and professors on this day because they have done a lot for the university. And of course the feedback system allows us to find out what the most popular subjects are or which subjects are taught the best. And the feedback system also allows us to see in which subjects people should have more or new study materials, because when we think about for material technology, for example, we shouldn't have study leaflets from 2018 because we are already in 2020. So
I can't say that the feedback has been left without attention. We have tried to make it better. It's one thing to collect feedback once per semester, but we try to focus more on the feedback for each week, each lecture, and I think things are improving slowly. We have also visited other Eurotech universities. We visited Aalto in spring, and Corona put a halt to our plans, but we had plans to visit other universities. IT professors went to Eindhoven University to see how to teach well, how to take into account and how to collect the feedback. So we are actively working on this. The problem is that if you give feedback to a course, you'll never take it again, and you won't know if improvements have been implemented. So if there's a Moodle course, then you might want to review it every year on the basis of feedback received. So this is something that we take very seriously, and it's not been left to wait when we have more pressing issues. This is definitely good to hear. Do you foresee specific measurable objectives in the strategic or implementation plan? We do not have feedback in the strategic plan, but what we want to do with the students, with faculty, is to look at experience. For example, in many universities, there's the permission authorization to teach. In the first place, we have to ask from students. I don't think we will go that far, but we might want to provide trainings to our teaching staff members. Sometimes we have acted maybe too hastily on the basis of feedback, negative feedback on teaching staff. We would like to provide trainings instead of negative feedback now. And what we would also like to do is whether the academic affairs department or personnel department, when they are offering trainings, it may be a bit too distant to staff members. What we have started is that faculties would have designated people that would be available to discuss the teaching matters. They may provide feedback, visit lectures. So without any whistles and blows, just feedback that would improve teaching. We have 2 psychologists, Grete Aro and Katjaus, educational psychologists recruited to this building, and there was a lot of maybe mistrust at the beginning, but trust is beginning to grow, and we would like to grow such trust in each faculty, and we should contribute to improving teaching in each faculty on the basis of their experience. I think faculties need to take responsibility for improving their teaching. And now the last block, entrepreneurship studies and entrepreneurial spirit. Students have had a chance to voice their opinions, but I would like to ask, what are the 3 key aspects to mention on this topic? Yes, I can say that we feel that we have been involved, we have had a voice in this field, and the ideas of the expert groups are in line with what the students think. So we would like to communicate to the students the direction we're moving, and the 3 things to mention is project-based learning, then trans-faculty cooperation, how to integrate so many disciplines and such broad competence, how to bring this all together, and lastly, whether entrepreneurship studies should be on different levels. Let us start from project-based learning. We feel that this is where we get in touch with the companies. We can put our knowledge into practice. Maybe someone would like to share their experience on project-based learning. I think I may have had most experiences. Yes, it's possible to do it inside the university, but also with projects coming outside the university. I studied software engineering, and we had an external evaluator who consulted our projects, our course projects, and it gave us a very good perspective on how this would work in an actual company. I've also heard about business IT cooperating even broader, on a broader basis with companies, and this is something that should not be a one-off in one course, but rather norm for every course if we want to become the most entrepreneurial university in Estonia. My experience shows that cooperation with companies under these courses is very welcome. And if we put research into this formula, I think there's room for improvement, but we are moving in the right direction. There was a study program reform 3 years ago, and each study program now after this has an entrepreneurship course, but this also has other aspects like problem-based learning and project-based learning. And this is not in the statute for study programs, but there are some study programs that have implemented this very successfully, the one you mentioned, and there are others, and we have gained courage, maybe not to make project-based learning mandatory in each study program, but if something is this good and popular, we hope that this will spread across different study programs, and when Sven has contacts with companies, then companies might offer actual problem cases to solve for students. And we might be more active in engaging in problem-based learning. Tallinn University has been successful in implementing this via the ELU project. We might do something similar. Yeah, we might want to add some extracurricular dimensions to this, but the specificities are under development. We will have at least 10 topics in the implementation plan for teaching and learning, and we have also included ideas from students. As one trainer said, I will tell you more next time. No, I would like to follow up on this. You mentioned Tallinn University, but the new rector's office has thought about visiting all other universities in Estonia, and other universities have suggested that they would like to cooperate on the basis of entrepreneurial and project-based studies. I think this may result in very exciting cooperations and chances to meet people from different spheres. And the regional hospital is another partner where some of our professors and faculty members work. So we can source interesting study problems from different places. Shall we give the floor to the leader in this specific field, entrepreneurship? I have one idea. It's quite fresh. We would like to see what the experience in the world has been with this. Spin-off companies, often created by researchers. When developing such companies, in some universities, they have used students. So we should maybe find ways to involve students in the development of business ideas that we have within the university. An example, the rector has maybe signaled that spin-offs are welcome in Rectorate, and we often have research groups visit Rectorate who would like to create companies on the basis of their knowledge. They would like to give the knowledge to benefit the society. So the questions, who will draw up a business plan, who will do marketing, etc., come up straight away. So there are a lot of activities where students could be involved. We need to put this into a suitable structure for project-based learning, or just make a rule that a student could be involved in every research group to help move things along. So a quiz question to everyone. What do Mark Zuckerberg and the founder of Snapchat have in common? What was his name? Even Spiel, whatever. let's say, what do Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg have in common? Okay, let's take Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg. Do you want to us to say that they discontinued their studies? Yes. We don't want students to drop out, but we want to help them find their wings and be part of a company either straight away or later on. And then they should come back as professors. One more thing about the project-based learning. While developing the campus, we have come across a lot of complex problems. Let us say we want by the year X get rid of all cars from the Mustamäe campus. In order to achieve this, we have to conduct studies and analysis how many cars are normally parked on our premises, what are the alternatives for reaching the campus. Can we reach level 0, or if not, then what is the lowest level possible? Do we have to construct some facilities? How much would they cost, etc., etc.? There are many very complex issues where we can give opportunities to analyze issues to students from different faculties and study programs. If we were able to define the problems, then how should this be done so that this would be actually implemented?
I should like to reply right away. I had to do the cost-benefit analysis approximately a month ago as part of my coursework, and we analyzed the cost of one bus company starting to use only electrical energy in Tallinn, what the cost-benefit would be. And I think a similar analysis could be conducted for anything that is an actual issue here on the campus. And I think this would also be much more exciting for students because it would be an issue that concerns us, and we would be able to see firsthand what a change economically means, and we would also see that our projects are important for us. Yes, we would like to do it, but our question is how would this information go from the real estate department to the students who would be doing the analysis? Which channels could we use? How could we signal to our staff that students are ready to do this? So how can we bridge this gap? Who should do what? We already have an air bridge. And we actually talked about this outdoor space in the beginning. So we could go to that outdoor space and discuss. Of course, first we need to analyze where this square would be in order to meet and discuss. We should decide whether the square for discussions would be outside or inside. And we should have somebody who would assess, who would use good methods to assess where the right place would be. Because our students, once they have completed their studies, would go to the outside world and would implement all these ideas. And it would be nice to implement the ideas first here at the campus. However, it should be the student bodies who give us the idea of how to do this. I think the best way would perhaps to contact various lecturers and professors who are already teaching their courses and who are talking about the projects. And maybe then professors and students should talk among themselves and say that there are certain projects, everyone who is taking this course can participate in the project and contribute something to the practical real world. And when we speak about the final thesis, then we have the project managers who could help us. I think that's too much. Project managers, lecturers, professors, all of these different levels. I think we need to simplify. Because we need a more efficient method, something that is ready to use. Yes, everyone can see that there is huge potential, but we are not harnessing the potential because we don't see how. We don't know about a good, effective method. However, it's good that we are talking about this. Yes, you would be a good politician, always saying the right thing. So, if you want to stand at the elections, give us a call. But we are now drawing to a close. And I will now take 2 questions from people watching this transmission. And I think these questions are important for students and also they relate to the issue of entrepreneurship. The first question, many students have to find a job during their studies. But instead of the students going and working as barmen, they should be employed at the university. They can already help university today by consulting and also by working at the communication center. And all students think highly of such opportunities, for which reason the university should come up with more of those opportunities. Yes, I think it's a good idea. Maybe we should communicate inside Technopolis and also talk with different technology companies which maybe have some opportunities for students and also part-time jobs for the students, because Technopolis and the other technology companies are so close to the university that it would be very convenient for the students to work there. Of course, the primary interest of the university is for students to actually study. But I think that students who are more active and more entrepreneur-like will find their own way, will find their own opportunities, but of course the university could help them where possible. Thank you also for the question, because it is a really good question. We have the advising or consultancy center which works in the study center and which provides help to students. And now this center is also providing a new service whereby one student is teaching another. It's called the teaching program for students. And students who receive this help do not have to pay much, but of course they will pay a fee. And it is like an in-house job opportunity for more senior students who are teaching the newer students. I hope that this program will be beneficial and we will go from grade 8 to grade 10. And if this program is successful, we will possibly extend it next year. Of course, it's not a very new idea. It has been tried out before, but it hasn't been launched successfully in the past. We now have this teaching help for mathematics, and we're already looking for students who would be willing to teach others. We have another idea. We hope that we will be able to give more and more scholarships to students every year, and these scholarships would be paid by different companies with whom we are negotiating. This week we will also have a meeting together with the development fund of Technology University. We will be speaking with Robert Kitt, and maybe he can help us in finding more scholarship opportunities for students. This would also be one way of helping students financially. Because if they had these scholarships, they would have to work less in parallel with their studies. Yes, and we can also maybe provide opportunities for setting up a company on the campus, like a cafeteria. Because students often ask whether there are vegan options in the cafeteria, but maybe we should have an entire vegan cafeteria which would be set up and also run by students themselves. If they want to employ staff from outside, they will, and so on. Yes, we already have an example. And a student from India has already set up his own place across the road. Of course, the food is very spicy there. I asked for medium spicy, but it was really, really hot. Anyway, we have always had this opportunity that research groups employ students. The tasks will not be maybe very difficult or very exciting, but rather mundane and simple, but some of them are also interesting enough. And for the researchers themselves, their tasks are too simple, too easy, so they would like to outsource them to the students. I think these opportunities have always been in place, but maybe not all students know of those, and we should promote them better. Of course, the fee would not be very high. You will certainly earn more if you work for a software company. Possibly you will earn more in a software company than the professor earns at the university. From the administrative and real estate side, I can say that we have employed people who are still studying. First they have been our interns and then our employees. And if some of you listening to this transmission right now think that they would want to contribute more to the campus, to the physical side of the campus, that you have some ideas that you want to discuss and you also have some time that you are ready to spend, I think that we can find something for you and for us. You will be contributing something and we will be paying something. I think that we will come to a middle ground. And on a personal note, I have 3 sons, and the eldest is studying at another university, which is approximately 180 kilometers from here. He, together with his friends, is teaching courses to upper secondary school, and they are operating over the internet, and they are helping those who want to go to the university and who are starting to prepare for their final exams. It appears that first and second year students are actually great teachers because they are good simplifiers. I also would like to talk about my middle son and mathematics. He's not, how can I put it, as bright as the eldest one. And when the middle one speaks about mathematics, he will say that I don't understand anything at school, but when my brother talks to me, I understand everything. So maybe there is something here. Maybe students who are still in the university can contribute their knowledge to others, and it will also help themselves. Yes, it is the same, the teaching aid program like we have at the university, but here the money also moves inside the same university. It's not, we don't get it from the upper secondary school students. Yes, but my son's program started when he helped his friends, a bit younger friends. Yes, of course. You have to think about how this aid is provided. It has to be academically fair and honest. But if somebody who is already at the university is teaching someone who is still at the upper secondary school in good faith and gets paid a little, I think that's all very good. I can still remember from my own youth that people write to the students at the technical university and they ask, maybe someone here will be willing to provide lessons. Sometimes parents write. So there is a need and we should have a system. Hanna Domberg from the Open University is actually a good contact for those who want such kind of help, because Hanna Domberg also works, communicates with the upper secondary schools, and sometimes he has trouble finding those who would like to teach the preparation classes for the finals. Preparation classes are very, very popular, and many people would like to attend, but we don't have enough teachers. So why not employ a good student to teach? I think there is huge potential here. Yes, we should talk about it. And then the second question.
This maybe is not so specifically about the strategic plan of TalTech, but what about financing of higher education? This is not an easy question, but this comes up year in, year out. I would like to say that the students suffer from the consequences of this. The financing model of higher education is not sustainable for public universities today. I think everyone has understood this. We need to find solutions to this, to understand what our options are. Whether the state would allocate more funds, I think this would be the first choice of all rectors. Then partially paid education, would there be an administrative fee, fees for part-time studies, etc.? The last system worked until 2013, or a third option. When I studied, there were a lot of students at this university, 8,000 or 9,000, but at the University of Tartu there was 5,500 students. So to cut the student numbers by 50%, this would get more money per student. The solution is political, and I can reassure you, and on behalf of the Rectors' Council as well, that the first choice of all rectors would be that the state would meet its taken obligations and earmark sufficient funds for higher education. Yes, at the time when this decision was taken, we got more funding, but we lost paying students. But now, for 4 consecutive years, we have had to manage with the same level of financing. And it's very difficult to implement changes when higher education in the Nordic countries is free of charge. Yesterday, we had a dream. The sectors that desperately need highly skilled employees would contribute themselves. We have discussed with some sector representatives. We always start by asking them to pay for the whole study program. This has not happened yet, but maybe the industry would understand that state financing is insufficient. It's difficult to collect fees if Nordic countries are offering studies for free of charge, so maybe they would contribute. We have come to the end of our meeting. Does anyone have anything else left to say? Students, last chance for you. I can say that I'm very happy that during last semester you have involved us very closely in the process of strategic planning. This makes the university more student-friendly, and we try to challenge you from time to time to make sure that things are moving in the right direction, but things are moving in the right direction, and I think they will improve even more. Yes, we should be challenged, and this will definitely not be the last chance for you to get involved. Our doors are always open. I would like to say, by way of conclusion, that I see a very ambitious team, ambitious ideas, ambitious students. And to all of our viewers, having heard all of this, think about what you can do to help and support the university in their ambitious plans. If you would suggest solutions, you would bring your startups to Rector, etc., you will find doors open to people and ideas. And by way of conclusion, I would like to remind you that we talked about strategic plan, the competition we have two competitions ongoing. We have an idea competition and an essay competition ongoing. I think the deadline was 3rd of January. Think big. Think about University Without Borders. Take this opportunity. We would be very grateful if we received ideas and essays from students. And prizes are available to best performers.